have just arrived in Sarajevo. How exciting is that? This is Han doing, leaving me to do all the work as usual. But today we are merely passing through the city on a long travelling day. A train to Mostar for 3 nights there, and then back to Sarajevo for 3 nights next week, so that we are conveniently placed for our return flight to Poland. We have arrived in Sarajevo, and what a greeting the city had for us. First of all, the airport bus didn't turn up. It was supposed to take us to the city centre, and then after about half an hour of waiting, a relief driver came along in his empty bus and said, "There are problems, but I'll take you to the nearest main road and you can find a bus there to the city centre," which we did, eventually. It's taken us 2 hours to get to the train station, and I'll show you the train station in a minute. Wow. So this is it. This is the capital city, Sarajevo's main central railway station, which has a handful of trains a day passing through it. This is it. Grand Central Station, Sarajevo. And when we arrived at the train station to collect our online tickets, there was nobody there, and the guy behind the counter was on his tea break and was a little bit put out that somebody was there trying to do business. Anyway, it's been a fraught morning, and we're next door to the train station having our late lunch.
I think of it as an early dinner.
Oh God, do we need alcohol? And what have we got? Because they don't serve alcohol. Yeah, there's no board anywhere that tells you when a train comes in which one it is. You've just got to hope that it coincides with the time it's due to arrive, and hope that it's your train. The guy behind the ticket counter really didn't have a clue how to identify it when it comes in, so we'll just have to play it by ear and hope we end up tonight in Mostar. It's been that kind of day.
Camera, if you have camera on it, and
Well,
you
yeah,
probably
I've got
charge.
a portable charger with a different cable, but I'm not sure what the cable would be.
Yeah.
We're on our way, heading south, on time. How's your day been so far?
Good fun.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Czasami koniec. Jest oznakowana wyszedł.
Cross the track. Okay. It's been a hell of a day. Been travelling all day, and this is our apartment. Sleeps 7, so we have a bedroom each. A good night's sleep is in store for all. Snoring shouldn't affect anyone. Here we are. This is the courtyard. And we're quite pleased with this situation on this, our first night in Mostar. So what is the forecast today? It looks like blue sky up there.
Yeah, and then rain about 3, I think you said.
3 o'clock. Elizabeth is on a walking tour at the moment. I'm going to have an urban ramble, see what I can find. It's a beautiful morning, that's for sure. 9:30, 20 degrees already. Best weather of our tour. And this here is the bank building that was abandoned in the early 90s when the Balkan War was raging, and it's been left derelict ever since. And going to try and get inside it. It's an interesting building known as a sniper building, and during the war the snipers would post themselves on the top for the vantage point over the city and pick the Bosnians off at their will. Let's see if I can get inside it. Well, I think this is as high as I can get. None of it's particularly accessible. There is another level up there, but I'm not sure how to get to that, as the staircase seems to have disappeared. Let's have a look. Ah. This is the roof. Yes. Up on the roof with a view of the city. This is where the snipers would have positioned themselves. The view overlooking the whole of the city. Back in the early to mid 90s. when this place was under siege, under attack, when the Croatians actually destroyed the old bridge, which has subsequently been rebuilt. What a building! What a history! Time to split. Phew. Made it. That was interesting. And there we've got bullet holes that remain from over 30 years ago. From the conflict that was played out in front of us on TV. Many, many bullet holes still remain in the side wall of this abandoned bank. It's been left derelict for over 30 years. Amazing. And just across the road, in the city centre here, in Mostar, a very pleasant park. The Yugoslav youth of the 70s and 80s became obsessed with kung fu movies, and Bruce Lee became a particular hero of theirs. And this park contained, until last year, a monument to Bruce Lee, until it was stolen. And there we have it, the base of the monument to the kung fu fighter Bruce Lee. And that's all that remains of it, since the statue was stolen last year. This is the Partisan Memorial Cemetery to commemorate the Yugoslav resistance fighters from the Second World War who were killed by the Nazis. Laura cobbles in Mostar, which I found to my dismay yesterday, dragging the suitcases to the apartment. It's quite an impressive monument, memorial. That's where I was 20 minutes ago, centre screen on top of the old abandoned bank building where the snipers used to position themselves. Amongst this beautiful rolling scenery. In a bit of a state of disrepair after all these years. Maybe the gravestones were desecrated during the Balkan conflict 50 years after the Second World War and have been left, who knows. Although there is still some signs of remembrance going on. I guess that's a very recent thing after the commemorations for VE Day a week or so ago. So here we are back in the old town area of Mostar, and I had absolutely no idea as we're approaching the iconic old Mostar Bridge that it was such a popular tourist destination. It's May and I expected it to be virtually deserted on the bridge, with the occasional young Bosnian chap wanting to dive off, but it's absolutely chock-a-block with tourists. Who would have known in May it would be like this? Amazing. Who would have thought? What the heck is it like in the height of summer? This is it, Mostar Centre. Right, let's go and see if she's finished her walking tour. I think she's just about finishing off now. It is very hot.
She had some Americans on the tour, and she was talking about how it came about, you know, different people running the country and what they want. And this woman said, it's like living in America these days. Did you have it?
I thought it was the other side of the bridge.
Oh yeah, you're
More
right.
in the direction
yeah,
of
you're
our
probably
hotel.
right.
Nice colour.
Yeah, it's because it's copper in the soil.
Hence the coppersmiths.
Yep. That's why it's green, because copper obviously when it gets wet. Diving school.
Oh yeah.
They've got a cafe up.
But if somebody wanted to, they could strip off and jump in no time, couldn't they? Look at that, it's heaving. Ah, nice cold beer. Just what's needed after a morning of exertion. That's where we were just now, walking along the bazaar on the eastern side of the river. And now we're settling down for a nice lunch in view of the bridge. What more could you desire when you come to Mostar? So, this is going to be a 5 sausage day, would you believe? Have I ever had a 5 sausage day before?
Oh, I'm pretty sure you have. Yay, isn't it?
Behind the speedboat. The Crooked Bridge in Mostar, older than the old stone bridge, the famous one. Nobody be jumping off this one. The iconic old bridge in Mostar was finally destroyed in November 1993 by the Croatian military. The 16th century Ottoman bridge was rebuilt between 2001 and 2004 using the original stone salvaged from the riverbed and supplemented by new blocks from the original area. These guys on the bridge have been teasing with the public now for a good couple of hours, pretending that they're going to get ready to jump, but without actually doing so. They've been up and down 3 or 4 times onto the edge of the bridge. It's a nice day to jump off a bridge, and these guys have been trained to do it, so I don't know why they just don't get on with it. He's limbering up, but it's probably all for show, all for effect. Another fine morning. Right, off for a hike in the canyon. Oh, a steep old start. Beehives. Well, they call it a canyon, but trail at the moment is either side of the canyon. The canyon floor, I haven't really found it accessible yet, so we'll push on. Haven't seen one for a while. These are the intended markers for the trail, so at least I know I'm on the right path. Got to be wary apparently because there are snakes around, and also you don't want to stray too far from recognised paths because there's still uncleared landmines in this area from the Balkan conflict. Right, so the trail has now led me to what's pretty much the canyon floor, but there are these great big stone barricades in the way which has prevented me from getting down to it before now. Now I'm on it, but another one confronting me just there, so quite sure where I go now. So the canyon floor trail leads you to this massive stone barricade, so not quite sure what's going on with their signalling. I think my only option is to turn back and get back on the path that runs along the side. It's just that I've got Michael Mosley in mind for some reason. He was an intelligent guy. He was my age, 67 I think, and he didn't get his leg blown off by a landmine or get bitten by a snake, but he wandered off by himself and ended up in a bad way. Now, could take that one of 2 ways. It could be merely replicating the red and white colours to let you know where the hiking trail is, or a warning for danger, do not stray past here, which somebody's snapped in half. Anyway, let's push on. Not really what I was expecting from a canyon hike. This is rising all the time, running alongside the canyon itself, down there. Nice views though. I can only assume that the canyon itself, the canyon floor, is rising at a similar rate. So this is quite a steep ascent over here. Oh, that's reassuring. Been going for about an hour now and I've yet to encounter any fellow hikers. I chose to do this trail because I thought a hike along a canyon floor would be fairly relaxing, interesting. The alternative was to go to the Millennium Cross on the other side of the city, but I thought from what I was reading that would be a bit too strenuous for me, although some people take a taxi ride up there and walk down, but it seemed from what I read to be quite a strenuous climb. And it's turned out that this is too. Ooh. Hello? Hello? Let's see if anyone's in. A very tiny little homemade camp. It's too small for me to get in. I'd have to crawl inside and there's barely enough room to stretch out and sleep. Not sure who's made this. Maybe it's quite an old abandoned one. Somebody put a bit of effort in at some stage. Ooh, haven't seen any red and white markings for a while. So the trail is beginning to peter out a little bit now. It's getting very bouldery up here. Oh, the path has pretty much disappeared now. Weirdly, just at a single bark of a dog, quite loud as it was quite nearby. I haven't seen or heard anyone with it. So God knows where that's come from and what sort of dog it is. Do they have wolves in Bosnia and Herzegovina? Nothing to bear in mind is the showers that are due to arrive around about midday. So I'm keeping my eye out for them also. I've gone across a bit closer to the edge, overlooking the canyon, just in case I can pick up the trail again, or whether it has come to its conclusion. Ah, that is disappointing. I think this is the end of the marked trail and it's getting very difficult to go any higher or any further, and everything I hang on to either snaps off in my hands or contains a load of thorns. So right on the edge of the canyon now, and I think that's about as far as I can go. Oh, that was a tricky few moments getting back down from where I was. This stuff is as loose as hell. I couldn't even film what I was doing, which for anyone that knows me means that it was very difficult indeed. Having to lower my centre of gravity. I was on my knees at one stage and everything I tried to grab hold of would break off in my hands. Glad to see this place on the way back down. View from the window. Just room for somebody maybe who sleeps diagonally, who's maybe 5 foot something. Very weird. Very odd. Saw an American film last year actually on TV about people living off-grid. There was a father who raised his daughter and they moved on from place to place, living pretty much in conditions like this, and they trekked down to the city for their provisions. Yeah, they got rumbled at some stage by the authorities and they were housed with a kind of foster kind of family, but they found the constraints living with these people, even though they were very nice people, too much, and they made a run for it. Yeah, in the end the daughter found a little community somewhere, found herself, and the father decided to move on, lone wolf, and the daughter stayed put with the community. It was a nice little happy ending. Yeah, good film that was. My kind of film. You can keep your Star Wars and your diehards. Not for me. But a film such as that was perfect. God, it's taking just as long to go down as to come up. I didn't realise how steep it had been. A canyon hike? I don't think so. I found a little offshoot to the main trail and I'm now on a part of the canyon floor. Yes, might be worth a few moments just to see how far I can go along the canyon floor, whether it's interesting or not. Not particularly easy to traverse, full of boulders. It's beginning to level out a bit now, I think. Yeah, looking a bit more like a canyon now. Not exactly Nevada or Arizona, but a canyon that you can walk along. That's where I was. up there. And signs of human activity. Somebody's come out, sat down in this little cave and had a barbecue, maybe along with some weed or something. And now we have red arrows. So at least they're sticking with the red format. Ah, interesting. I don't think so. I think this may be the end of the line, as far as the canyon's concerned. As far as getting through it is concerned. It's becoming a bit wild and bouldery, and it's very warm today. And the showers will be arriving, hence travelling with my coat today. Phew! That was quite strenuous, but a good workout. The river that runs through Mostar, certainly a beautiful colour. Let's find out what the river's called. And back. Is she back from her shopping? Oh, she's back. The best kind of hell. After a morning of exertion. And here we are again. In sunny Mostar. Not a single shower yet. He's not going to jump, he's just going to stand there for hours. You watch him, I bet it's not for a couple of hours yet. Here in Bosnia, they are big meat eaters, so I'm having to join in.
I'm sticking to fish.
Fish lady.
Caught in the river below the old bridge.
Wow. I have found my first dark beer in Bosnia on our last day in Mostar, beside the Crooked Bridge. Alcohol.
Yeah.
Elizabeth has got swollen hands because of all the alcohol consumption. We're waiting at Mostar station where we got off the other day. This time
Prettier than Sarajevo, but not much.
we're going north, back to Sarajevo. Makes perfect sense.